Hello, now it's time to look at the one-to-many relationship. Here is the model again, and we find the one-to-many between review and book. Each review describes a single book, and a book is described by multiple reviews. As a side comment, notice that the comment attribute on the review is marked nullable. I know this is not really ER diagram syntax, but I just wanted to show that if you make a property nullable, EFC will configure it to allow null values. Otherwise, values are mandatory by default. Okay, so back at the topic at hand. Again, we use the parent-child terminology. The book is still the parent, and the review is the child in this situation. In a relational database, this relationship is handled by copying the primary key of the parent into the child. The attribute is then a foreign key from the child to the parent, or from review to book. To configure this with EFC, we again use navigation properties. First, I need to specify the book has many reviews. I do this with a collection navigation property, like this. This is actually all that EFC needs to determine this relationship is a one-to-many and create the correct structure in the database. With this approach, though, the foreign key is optional. We may not want this. For example, in my case here, a review should not exist without a book, so the foreign key cannot be optional. I can either enforce this not null constraints with the Fluent API, which I leave to you, or through further configuration here. Again, I recommend to have the navigation properties both ways for convenience. It is just more flexible to work with. So here's a navigation property from review to book. Now EFC will make the foreign key not null. If I wanted to allow null and have a bidirectional navigation properties, I would make the book property nullable, like this. But as I said, in this case we want a not null constraint. Finally, I can also include the foreign key property. There. I don't specifically need this, but this also adds flexibility to how we can interact with the data. We will see this later in the series. That's it for the introduction. Let's try it out. And we're back in my project. First, I need the review entity. Let me just create it with the properties. And let me show the two classes here side by side. Then we need the collection navigation property in the book, like this. I could repeat the process in the previous video and show you the generated script in the terminal, and I do encourage you to play around with this yourself. It's a good way to verify your setup. But this time I will skip over the intermediate steps. So let's jump to the review class and add the navigation property to the book, along with the foreign key, just like we saw a minute ago. Now I can open the terminal and generate a migration, and then update the database. Wonderful. And let's then inspect the updated database from the database view. I see that I got my review table with the attributes and the foreign key to the book. Unlike the one-to-one relationship, you will notice there is not a unique constraint on the foreign key index this time. Let's just compare to the price offer foreign key index here. This makes sense because we need multiple reviews to point to the same book. Okay, that's it. In the next video, we will move on to the many-to-many relationship. So see you there.